Well, thank you ever so much, Jonathan Carswell, for coming on today. Am I right in saying you're in the States at the moment?
Yes, so with 10ofthose.com, we're in Chicago at the moment, and we've been here just nearly a year now. So,
Fantastic. Okay. So, Jonathan, tell me a little bit about your background. I know you were brought up near Skipton, were you, somewhere?
yeah, not far. So, yeah, North Leeds is where I'm from originally, a place called Horsforth, and just near Leeds Bradford Airport. From a Christian family, though I didn't become a Christian until I was 16 on a sports camp in Holland, as it happens.
Ah,
And yeah, from there, I did some youth work. I trained in youth work, and then was a youth pastor in Northern Ireland. And then nearly 14 years ago now, began as a hobby
yeah.
something called 10ofthose.com, which sells Christian books, everything that's been handpicked, so we know it's good, and then we sell it as discounted. And the name 10 of those comes from when it was just starting as a hobby. You had to buy 10 at a time. So people would say, I'll get 10 of those and 10 of those. And the name stuck. You don't
Oh,
have to buy 10, but the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. So that's
of
our
course.
policy.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, so you didn't sort of stumble across 10 of those. It was sort of came out of your own hobby in that
Yeah,
sense.
one of the better things to grow out of my bedroom, my mum likes to say. But yeah, it began as a hobby. It was just a hobby on a Saturday afternoon. I vividly remember discussing it with a mate of mine and asking him if he thought I was crazy doing this. But it came out of a desire in that there are so many books out there,
Yeah,
um, and so many Christian books. How do you know which ones are going to be good and helpful?
yeah,
How do you know which ones are going to do you harm? Because lots of them out there, actually, though they look like they're Christian and they're from a Christian publisher, they don't hold to the Bible. They don't point you to Jesus.
that's
And
right.
so I began handpicking the ones I knew and had read that pointed to Jesus, and it just slowly grew and multiplied from there. Our passion is to get good books that point people to Jesus, read by as many people as possible. So
Excellent.
everything we sell is handpicked, with the desire that as people read it, they encounter who Jesus is and their lives are changed.
Fantastic, fantastic. We for the last few years we've used books from 10 of those, and we deliver them around the village at Christmas time. So if local people are
Okay.
watching, Jonathan is partly
You can
responsible.
blame me.
Yeah, I think Adrian Reynolds was the last one we did. Okay, so
Great.
can you tell me how has the sort of core vision a mission statement, if you like, of 10 of those developed? I mean, you've been quite succinct in explaining exactly what yeah, what is your core in a sense, but sort of in what ways is that vision working out, and how are you trying to, um, how have you developed that vision, if you like?
Yeah. Well, on one level, the vision hasn't changed. We still want to do exactly the same as what we were starting out with. I
Yes.
suppose our reach and our method has changed. So you don't have to buy 10, but we do seek to support churches who want to buy multiple copies and get it out.
Mm.
Um, we sell in a number of ways. So if you go to 10ofthose.com, you can shop there. We support churches, and I know yours has got one with partnership websites, so churches can customize what's on the homepage for the church, and churches can buy through that. We also do pop-up bookstores for churches, but also conferences and events, whether that be a weekend away or something like the Keswick Convention, or those sorts of things. I mean, the Keswick Convention going on as we're recording this at the moment,
Yes.
and we would normally be there. But it's online this year, and but those sorts of things we want to seek to bring resources to people so that they can then take them out. But a big passion of ours is to help people who perhaps aren't yet Christians, and maybe there's people watching now and they think, well, this is interesting, but I'm not a Christian. Well, we love to support people like that who are exploring, who is Jesus and what difference does he make in our lives? And a lot of what we publish and sell is seeking to introduce people to who Jesus is, so that they can discover him for themselves. And so
Yeah.
that be the final strand of what we do. We do a bit of publishing, low cost, mass market books, especially to introduce people to Jesus.
Yeah, because when people are looking at Christianity, there's some pretty big questions out there in the world today, aren't there? And as much as the gospel is very straightforward and simple, actually there's a lot of other questions that are hurdles for people. I know your dad has written a number of books, and he came and spoke actually at Norwich City a couple of years ago to sort of look at some of the big questions. And I noticed a lot of the 10 of those books sort of address some of those big questions that people have as well as they're inquiring
Well,
about
first of all, I
Christianity.
hope you've recovered from having my dad. That would take its toll on anybody. But yeah, I think as people explore the Christian faith,
Yeah,
it's very people have real questions, and that's fine to ask questions. That's one of the wonderful things about
yeah,
the Bible and Christianity. You can ask any question, and it's not off limits with God.
no, that's
That's the thing. So you can ask these questions. Now, God doesn't always give us the answer. You know, we're not kind of just able to parrot off answers to every such question,
no,
but we do have the biggest answer
yeah,
to questions of that. You know, answers are found in Jesus, and so the books that we publish and distribute, we want to present Jesus, not just a philosophy or an idea. We want to
yes,
present Jesus because He's the one who changes everything.
yes, yeah, of course, excellent. Um, Now you're a publishing company, a book selling company, and that's an industry that's taken quite a knock over recent years. Um, what sort of commercial challenges do you face, not just as a book business, but as a Christian book business? What are some of the challenges that you faced in actually running something that's both a business and a ministry?
Yeah, I mean there is that tension. That is hard. We are a business. We do seek to make profit,
Mm,
but at the end of each year, we work out what our profits are, and then look to see how we can use those for
yeah,
ministry, whether that's providing free resources or that sort of thing.
yeah,
Um, so anyone who's in business knows how tough it can be at times. We began just as the global financial crash happened, and so we walked through that, and now we're walking through COVID, and
yeah.
there are definitely challenges. And we sell books for £1. I mean, there's not a lot of margin there really,
No,
but
no,
God is good, and in
yeah,
many ways we operate a little like some of these pound stores or Aldi or whatever, that so long as you sell volume, then
mm,
the price can come down. And God has, I think, honoured how we've gone about it. We're not seeking to line our own pockets
no.
or build a second holiday home or anything like that. It's all the Lord, and He's provided ways to make it work. There are times that I sit up at night and think, well, I don't know how we're doing it.
Mm,
I think some of the other publishers look at what we're doing and think, I have no idea either. But
yeah,
yeah, there are definitely challenges, and COVID has hit us very, very hard. Within the space of 6 weeks, we
yes.
lost £2 million worth of
Wow.
event business.
Wow.
But it's all the
Is,
Lord's anyway, so
yeah,
it's not my loss really. It's all
yeah.
His.
And that's mainly because events have shut down or they've gone online, that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
Keswick Convention example is a good one. That's
Yes.
normally 3 weeks. We would normally sell tens of thousands of books.
Mm.
It's just not the same online, and so yeah, that has an impact. But
Yeah. Yeah.
as I say, it's all the Lord's. It's not my
Of course.
loss.
Yeah. That's right. That's the best way to look at it, isn't it? It's what he's placed in your hands to do,
Mm,
and it belongs to him. Um,
yeah.
so you're living in the States now, in Chicago.
Yeah. So
So how's that development sort of come about?
So for the last 5-6 years or so, we've been sending a lot to the States from our base in the UK,
Yes.
and we were approached 2 or 3 times by people over here saying, "Would you come and do a similar ministry that you do in the UK
All
in
right.
the US?" And we put it off and we put it off, and our team, we prayed about it, we thought about it, yeah, sort of this time last year we began the ministry out here, doing a very similar thing,
Yeah.
seeking to help churches with getting good books, but very specifically over here helping churches think evangelistically
Mm.
with literature.
Mm.
I I'm fairly critical of the US publishing world in that there are many publishers here
Hmm.
that have vast amounts of money.
Yes.
Not one single publisher focuses on publishing evangelistic books as
Wow.
a matter of course.
Wow.
And for me, I personally feel that that is an embarrassment on the American church. Now, we don't have all the answers as Brits, kind of, oh, fly us in and we'll sort you out. But we can do something. We can do something little, I think. And what I'm
Absolutely.
trying to do over here is encourage churches and publishers to think evangelistically. How
Yeah.
can we reach out to a lost world with books that will point them to Jesus on an evangelistic level? So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, excellent.
And
And that means building a team around you, as you've got in the UK already. How many people work for 10 of those now?
yeah, so I think there's 24 or so in the UK, and we're just 6 over here. We're just developing it, but
Yeah.
so we're small, but they all
Yeah.
work very hard.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. Now, I notice on your website you've got a number of biographies and things like that. So they some of them might have an evangelistic edge, but some of those are real sort of stories of faith. They're testimony stories as well. Why do you think it's good for Christians to read as well? I mean, we relish the Bible, don't we? You know, we're fed. Our souls are fed by the scriptures. But why is it good to read biographies and things like that?
Yeah, well, the Bible says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And
Yes.
so we want to be putting good stuff in so that good stuff can come out. And obviously, first and foremost, we want to be people of the book. We want to be reading the Bible. And I never want people to read Christian books at the expense of reading their Bible.
Yeah.
But I think biography can really help in showing how God can have his hand on a life that's dedicated to him. You know,
Yeah.
when somebody commits their life to Jesus, it isn't so things can go better or so that, you know, they get a quick ticket to heaven. It is a total surrender of
Yeah.
who we are to him as Lord. And so when that happens,
Yeah.
he directs our paths. And I think biography, I mean, I love a good story, but more than that, learning things that through biography. I remember reading The Hiding Place, the story of the 10 booms
Oh, yeah.
during the World War. There's an amazing line in there where Corrie and Betsy, the two sisters who'd been protecting Jews, were in a concentration camp, having been captured. And Corrie says to Betsy, I just can't go on.
No.
Betsy says to Corrie, there is no pit so deep that God is not deeper still. Those sorts of lines, you know, it must have been 10 years ago since I read that.
Yeah.
But I'm hopefully being transformed as my mind is fed these gospel truths. And
Yes.
whether that's biography or devotional Christian life, books that get us into God's word and get us meditating on who Jesus is.
That's right.
Then
and they glorify him, don't they? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I interviewed Paul Robinson from Release International recently, and some of the stories that come out of the Suffering Church are incredible and teach us such a lot as well. But the Great Commission is all about you know, be my witnesses. You know, you shall be my witnesses. You know, and so biographies are part of that witness, aren't they? You know, how we're explaining how God has not just promised to save, but he actually does it, and he's in the process of doing it. Fantastic. Okay, right. Well, thank you ever so much, Jonathan. Before we finish, how could we, as a fellowship, or others who watch this video, because it's sort of propagated. One thing that has happened with us is that other people are seeing it rather than just our own folk. But how can we best pray for 10 of those? How can we best pray for you and your family? Do you have a
thank
family,
you
by the
so
way?
much. Really appreciate the chance to chat, and I really do cover people's prayers. I mean, number one, the devil would love to stop the Bible and Christian books being read and got out there. So you might just pray that God would enable us to keep getting them out there.
Yeah.
Pray for evangelistic work that we're doing. We've been doing an evangelistic magazine. And through the generosity of a group, 120,000 of them are going out in the next couple of weeks. I might just pray that one of those little seeds might bring fruit.
Yeah.
For
Is
me,
that
as
a UK thing or is that an American thing?
that's a UK thing. Yeah,
Ah,
that's a UK thing.
yeah,
So um, for us as a family,
yeah,
it's obviously there are challenges as well as joys of being over
yeah.
here. I mean, number one, just pray that we walk with the Lord. And two little boys, we want them to trust in Jesus.
Mm,
For 10 of those, we have been rocked, especially through COVID, especially with a startup in the States.
yes,
You might just pray that if God wants us to prosper and develop in this way, He might just have His hand upon it, not for our glory or benefit,
that's right.
but for His and for the salvation of people who are perishing.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, thanks ever so much. This has been really good. The folks will see on our website, you'll probably appear in videos and things like that if you do book reviews, and so at least they'll have a bit of an insight into who you are and what you're about, and especially as all the whole village get our little booklets every day, every year. Of course they're not our booklets, they're yours, so they'll be able to put a face and sort of a bit of an idea of why we do what we do. So that's really good. So okay, well thanks ever so much, and every
Thanks.
blessing for your ministry ahead.
You too.
Take care.